Welcome, affiliated listeners. We have a special in-studio podcast today, which is always exciting. We're going to be joined by an amazing guest. And of course, I'm joined by one of the best co-hosts to ever exist.
Me.
In an affiliate-oriented marketing podcast. Thomas McMahon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
And I just spilled coffee all over myself, so let me not put that at my feet.
And you promised you would stay
We'll
close to the
probably
mic and be
edit that.
left.
No, we won't. We edit nothing out, especially if it's something I did stupid. It'll stay in there. So, well, before I introduce our guest, I don't know. You probably can't see him yet if we haven't edited to it. I want to do a little bit of a preamble, just to let you guys know what's really exciting that we're going to be covering today. Email is easily one of the most important assets in your business or most important parts of your business if you aren't paying attention to it right now. We'll go into why it's more important, but today we're going to be talking about tips, automations, and things that you could do with an email expert to start monetizing much better or differently than you are right now. And if you're not monetizing, what are you doing? This is your moment to pay attention, stop doing stupid things in your business, and do smart things today, which is something with your email. And yes, that was I don't know what happened. My body convulsed out of just rage and anger. But with that, let's introduce our guest for the day. We have David Cartolano. So you have to get the Italian side to it. David, how are you doing today?
Hey, Kyle, I'm good. I thought I was walking into an internet marketing podcast, but it turns out it's just going to be like a comedy talk. So I'm great.
Yes.
Great. A lot better than I thought.
Until all the jokes run out and you're just left with me making weird comments. So
Those will still be jokes to me. I'll laugh.
okay, good. All right. Brought you here for a reason. And so with that, one of the things that's important to know, David, anytime for all our people when we have a guest in studio, we like to give them a drink curated for them. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, originally there were some changes with David's schedule, so I actually had to change the drink that we were originally going to do, and then I had to change it again because I couldn't get the stuff for it. So being that you're from Italy and you just reek of Italian-American, which I think is a delightful thing, and we should all love them because they brought us great things like Italian drinks, such as the Bellini, which is what we're going to share today. And one of the reasons I selected a Bellini, after I had to do some adjustments, one of the main reasons I settled on the Bellini is when we first met at WebinarCon, maybe it's because we both happen to be twins, which, by the way, I'm a twin, so is David. No, how cool is that?
That's cool.
Not each other's twins. I know
No, that'd be weird.
As you can see, there's a lot of I'm just a pair of glasses away from looking just like me, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at this camera. But you were just so bubbly and fun. It was this breath of fresh air. We talked email, and it just felt like a delightful, bubbly Bellini. And that's what I wanted to share today. Unfortunately, I can't get pureed peaches anywhere. So if you're in Boise, Idaho, and you know where to get pureed peaches, please tell me, or peach puree, or peach juice. I don't know how people consume peaches in liquid form. But we're actually going to move to mimosas today, and we do have a very nice Prosecco. So I'll pour some of that.
Oh, it's my cup. Thank you.
Yep, that's your cup. And see how we have this is known as the corporate size to keep us from being irresponsible as I overpoured that.
Those are pretty good.
So that needs a little bit more. All right. My professional bartending skills here. All right, Dave, you want to toss yours over here real fast?
Yeah. Just
We're hitting up the marketing team to get more on-brand
Wonderful.
wine glasses and champagne flutes.
We will one day. All right, so I'm
out.
going to toss this over, and I don't know if the cameras
that.
could pick
That's
this up.
a terrible idea. No, don't do that either. That's not going to.
I will slowly hand that to Thomas. But I just want to take a moment and identify. Oh, we forgot to actually put some of the orange juice in here. So
We're off to a roaring start. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's a pretty clear
I hope you
mimosa.
guys notice that Thomas has far too many drinks.
I have the appropriate amount of drinks. Okay.
Quite the drink roll.
And I've got my affiliated coffee cup for caffeine. I've got my Make Bank water bottle for hydration, and now I have got my mimosa for fun. So
I was going to say for personality.
Yeah. Y'all can't see it. He's got like 3 underneath his chair as
Yeah,
well.
there's all the
I
other
got a
ones.
Camelback too in case I run out.
So we should obviously start off with some sort of cheers or salute. So I'm going to say, what would be a good Italian? What can we do in Italian?
Salute.
Salute. All right.
Salute.
That does not have a satisfying clink at all.
It's those corporate glasses.
I know. Mm-hmm. That is a nice Prosecco, quite delightful. So with that, let's jump into
Notes
things
of
you
orange,
care
yeah.
about. Notes of orange.
Yeah.
I wish it was peaches. All right, so on to me failing less on the drink section. And let's go into some things that aren't failing, which is email success. So,
Right.
First, before we're going to go to a little bit in your back history, David, just so people can understand, because I think it's one of the coolest stories, really, really amazing. But before that, why don't you give people just a little bit of a tease of some of the exciting things that you're helping people with in email today, just so they kind of know a little bit more about why they should be listening to what you're going to say next.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I do, I like to tell people in one sentence, I write them, send them, systemize them, keep them out of spam. And after the truckload of emails that just happened on Black Friday, when people say, oh, David, I don't know if email will work for me. I don't know if email works, or email's dead. It ain't. I'm doing this. And sometimes it's those little hinges that swing big doors, man. Mm-hmm. So if you're sitting on a list of like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, heaven forbid, 30,000 people, and you haven't emailed them, like it's not as much work, I think, as people think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that could be a big part. And we will talk about how it's not as much work. It's some easy ways to get started and making some money. So, Thomas, you look like you're ready to say something. I can't tell.
Oh, I just want to make a tag him and bag him joke because that's where it goes. Yeah.
Go for it.
No, that was it. No, I missed it. Yeah. It didn't land. Yeah.
You're just so ready. I should, for any of those that think that Thomas struggles to hold a mic, I don't know if your hands ever show up in these video. We are currently working with a mic.
I don't struggle to hold a mic. I'm forced to hold a mic.
No, I know. I'm letting people know. We know that someone comes along and is like, why is Seth Rogen holding this mic all weird? I want them to know that it's not you. It's the mic. So it's our editor's problem. But it's really funny to me, so I'm going to mention it multiple times.
Someone sponsor this podcast so we can get a new microphone stand, please. Okay.
So as we go, before we go too much into the other tidbits and some exciting things from email that we're going to be talking about today, I want to jump in a little bit more because I think, just to preface this, for all those out there that are on your journey right now, and you might sit here thinking, I've made the wrong decision, or everyone's telling me what I'm doing is stupid. Listen to this story right here, because you're going to feel like the universe has put you in the right path, and you should continue to pursue it. So with that, David, because hopefully don't oversell it, tell us a little bit more about how you got involved in all this email madness.
Yeah, man. So like a lot of entrepreneurs I know, like you fail out of one thing that you thought you were meant to do for a while, and it leads to something better. So I was studying to be a doctor of physical therapy for like 5 years. So after a year of graduate school and just getting my ass kicked and just realizing, I'm forcing myself to do this. I was already failing out, and my professors came to me and said, hey, you can either fail out completely or you can reapply and start over. And I went, all right, I'm going to reapply, right? And 3 days later, I went to a business conference, joined a mastermind with a credit card that I did not have. And that's a long story. And
I committed fraud.
yeah.
I wish I could say that was less of an origin story than we might have heard in marketing circles. But.
Yeah. And I used this wonderful man, Aaron LeBauer. If you're watching this, thank you. He took a chance on me, and he paid for the first month of a mastermind that I decided to join. And that was the first hit, man. That was the first hit of, finally going from listening to podcasts and consuming books and stuff to actually doing something. Mm-hmm. Man, that was 3 days later after I failed.
So let's dissect that a little bit, because I think the inflection point of action is something that are critical moments in our life, right? Like anytime you have an inflection point where you can and start taking action, that tends to be the beginning of the fork in the road.
100%.
I think lots of times we go left when we should go right in those situations. But I'm really curious, what was that inflection point that drove you to action? Can you kind of like remember that moment or that thing?
Clear as day, man. I remember looking at the stage and, seeing the value stack. And I remember saying to myself, sitting and saying to myself, holy shit, if I let this go by, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. And in that moment when something is so unbelievably 10,000% certain that you're like, all right, this is do or die. I'm going to do it. So I figured it out. I didn't have the money at the time. I was a dropout. I was a dropout, man. Just a kid sitting in the back of an event.
Med school dropout, though. I think that's important.
Yeah.
There's a distinction of dropout levels.
It's like the best dropout.
Elementary school dropout, not quite as good.
I think that makes for a better story,
That's true, depending on what that story would be.
Right.
But yeah, no. So,
Yeah.
so is that moment you were sitting in there and you're just like, if I miss out on this, like, it's done. I'll regret it for the rest of my life. So, what was the hardest thing that was holding you back from taking those steps previously? Like, what changed? Was it something about the overwhelming amount of debt you just put yourself in during that moment, or like what started shifting?
I think, dude, I was done. I was just done. There's that story of that analogy of the dog with the nail in its foot, and the reason why, you know, it hasn't pulled it out yet, it's because it doesn't hurt enough. At that point in my life, I'm like, this just hurts too much. Physical therapy school sucks. I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I'm working at these clinics. I'm burned out. I'm not happy doing the thing that I thought would make me happy. At the end of the day, you can make all the money in the world, but if you don't have a smile on your face in the mirror, who cares? Who cares, man? So I took the chance. I remember, yeah.
So it sounded like you've been listening to some content and kind of aware of, I'll say, the space, like internet marketing, entrepreneurship a bit before.
Yeah. I was always skirting on the outskirts because I knew, like, I wanted to be a doctor of physical therapy, have that title, but I also wanted to have a clinic. So that seed of entrepreneurship, it was there. So I would listen to other doctors, whether they be physical therapy or chiropractors, about how to grow your practice. And that just always seemed right to me. So if you're listening to this right now and there's something in your gut that's like, this always seemed right, it's because it is. Listen to that, please. I don't know what camera to look in, but like,
right there, that's your
listen to that. You know, that's...
Don't pull a Kyle.
Yeah, don't...
all the cameras. Yeah.
But yeah, man, listen to that. Like, your gut is telling you to do something, and it might not work out the way you planned, but it's also better than the thing you're currently in.
That's awesome. Well, I love that idea of like misery sometimes is a foregone conclusion, right? It's going to be hard no matter what path you go, but at least the hope of happiness should be what you're always chasing. So if you could chase a smile, right? Like if you could chase the internal happiness you'd be hoping for, that is worth whatever misery you might have to go through. And
It's
you're
all
probably
risk.
going to go through misery no matter what, right?
Exactly.
Just as much as happiness could be inevitable, so could misery. So.
Yeah.
No, that's really amazing. So all those listeners right now, if you're on that fence, take the action. Thomas, I know you're about to say something inspiring. I can feel it.
No, gosh. You keep setting me up for failure. Thank you. Yeah.
I was hoping I was like, this is gonna work. It wasn't even trying to be a dick. It just
Thomas, say something funny. Say something inspiring. Oh no.
I thought you had it ready.
Nope.
Oh,
I was gonna ask, like, so you buy the mastermind, or you get help with buying the mastermind.
Yep.
What was that core thing you were looking for in that, and did it deliver? Like, take us through a little bit of the journey of the mastermind to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. So the mastermind helped me say, okay, I want to have this online personal training business, which, by the way, failed. So usually the first thing you start will fail, and that's okay. But that helped me realize, oh, you need to have an offer. Oh, you need to actually, post content. You need to do the things an online business owner stereotypically does. You need to stop thinking like a grad student, which I had to tell my parents, oh, by the way, I'm not going back to grad school. I quit. I'm done, which that was another conversation as well.
I'm sure a quiet one with an Italian family.
Oh,
from New York.
my
I'm sure
God.
They're really pleasant and kind. You guys probably had a chia bowl afterwards, like seems about right.
Oh, yeah. It was a great chia bowl. But the masterminds, I think, and to go off of that point, the mastermind kind of gave me the faith and belief of, people aren't going to understand. Some people will never understand. My parents, and I love them dearly, of course they didn't understand. It was their kid dropping out of an Ivy League, medical school to do something completely different. They're not entrepreneurs. So it was awesome to have a mastermind that was like, hey, here's how to do this, but also, you're not crazy. I mean, you are completely out of your mind. If you're an entrepreneur, you're crazy, but you're with a bunch of other crazy people who say, all right, keep going. Like, you're on the right path, kid.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. That's really good.
So you launched the physical therapy or online physical training offer.
Right.
Didn't go like you hoped.
Hell no.
So then what was the next step after that failure?
So after working on that, and this is such a stereotypical entrepreneur story, but after moving from New York, where I hail from, to Florida in the pandemic to live with my twin brother and try and figure this business crap out, and just sleeping on his couch for like 8 months straight. The online business, personal training business, it wasn't working. So I figured out, well, maybe I can offer a different skill that other online entrepreneurs need. So I learned video editing. So I started selling video editing services to the people inside of the masterminds. I'm like, oh, people are actually paying for this. And I remember getting a sale for $50 for a video, and I almost like wet myself. It was unbelievable, man, that it was such a hit. I'm like, wow, this online stuff might just work. So that was just an incredible experience. And from there, video editing and just learning the game a little bit more, I eventually got a job out here in Boise doing video editing. And that's where I learned what we're talking about today, which is the email marketing stuff. So it's been, man, like it's like you're a tennis ball in the court of life. So you're going to get hit around, but eventually you're going to cross the net if you just keep staying on the court.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
And so now your core business, can you describe that up for us?
Yeah. Everything email. So
Okay.
Myself and the people I'm hiring soon, which is awesome. We write emails, we send them, we systemize them, we keep them out of spam. Nice. So that way, business owners who would rather play whack-a-mole with their own right hand than bang out an email on a Friday night, we do that so you don't have to.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And so to clarify too, so you went and did you have like a W-2 job doing the video editing piece?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I had the W-2 job doing the video piece and then learning email, also learning Facebook ads on the way. So it's just a lot of different hats. But eventually, I just kept going at this email stuff. I saw that every time we sat down to do a weekly meeting, emails were the most profitable. It's the most profitable marketing channel, at least in this business. I'm not trying to crap on any of you ad guys out there. But it's something, I'm like, there's something here. So I kept learning more and more, not just in the job, but also buying courses with my own money, and learning and trying to figure out this email game because I saw it was working.
Nice. I want to touch on that real quick because
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people like, oh, how do I break into the space? I'm struggling. It's like, I tell a lot of people, go get a job. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, it sounds,
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
I want to be an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. I can't go get a job. But no, go get a job and learn the skills that will help you become an entrepreneur later, right? Because you'll get paid. You'll have steady income. You can put that towards courses like you just said, or whatever other training you need. And you're learning a skill set that you can leverage later when you do want to branch out and can branch out with more confidence and the services you can provide. So it's you could be an affiliate manager, you could be a email, junior copywriter, video editor. Like you're saying, there's so many things that digital entrepreneurs need that they're hiring for that you can get the dirty word job, go get a job and kind of break into the space that way, get paid to go to networking events, your affiliate manager, all this kind of stuff. And then when you're ready and have more stability, you can kind of branch on your own and have a lot better chance of success.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I think that's great. I think one of the other things about that too is it really helps you understand. I imagine you probably learned a lot of this. You get to see the entrepreneurial experience, right? Ideally at a somewhat successful level, enough to hire at least one employee. So I think that counts for something. That when you're going through and you want to know, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to have a business. I think getting a job for an entrepreneur beforehand is really, really valuable. For one, you might realize like, I don't think I want to be an entrepreneur, right? Because you might see, like I remember the first time working for like a small business, and you see that large companies die slowly. Small ones do not. It's sometimes very, very sudden. And when you start realizing that, you're like, wow, this is like a different type of rush to work under.
Yeah.
You might find that you hate that. And you're like, I would never like to do this. And so instead of toiling away in misery at a trying to start your own business,
right,
you could learn that while you're steadily employed and building a skill set you might enjoy, right? So I think I agree with you that that's sometimes underutilized. And I think a lot of the reason, and I'll just break the marketing barrier here, it's very easy to tell people to jump in with both feet and invest in everything in my course and everything I'm going to sell them. Not necessarily that I think that's an effective tool for success, but it sure is an effective tool for my success if I'm selling it. So this is my little soapbox to say, sometimes 2 feet in, if that's what you need to go do something, do it. Go 2 feet in, jump in, fail fast, fail hard, see what happens.
Well,
right?
maybe
but that's not everybody. And I don't think everyone needs to approach it.
Well, might
that
be
way.
jumping 2 feet in by quitting whatever job you're doing that you hate or whatever thing you're doing that you hate and going and getting maybe a less paying job or something, but but an entry level to break into a new space, right? So it could still be a big risk.
Yeah.
You're kind of hedging your risk with income, hopefully, with the JOB W-2, all that good stuff. I'll
I
do some
just-
bennies, and then
I just don't want anyone to be like Andy from The Office in that final season when he quits his job to go be a celebrity. So just don't do that. As long as you don't do that, you don't burn your bridges that way. So, well, with that, let's actually now jump into talking about some of these email inventions. And again, really appreciate it. I think that was fantastic.
Of course.
Great line of questioning, Thomas. So I think one of the biggest ones to start out, you'd mentioned deliverability a little bit earlier. And it's been a while that we've had a deliverability conversation on the podcast.
Well, I know this year, it seems like, or over the last 18 months, it seems like email's taken a beating.
Yeah.
From the context I have anyway, right? The list managers, the offer owners, it's just like, man, deliverability's down,
100%.
revenue's down. That's a core issue, right? Revenue is down for emailers.
Yeah.
And they're just scratching their heads. They're going, we can't really pinpoint why necessarily. They're kind of they're left holding what they thought was a really good asset. It still is, but just, wow, this is producing less revenue than it should based on historical performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd love to dive in with you. What
I
you're
think
seeing.
deliverability definitely a big start to that because no one sees the email because it's in the
Right.
promo tab.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck ever getting money off that one. So, yeah, we could start there and let's go into some of these other monetization tactics. I don't know why I bit my tongue when I try to say monetization. That's impressive.
That's like a lot of syllables for
pretty
you.
good.
Yeah.
You still got it out.
That's a big word for Kyle. So with that, let's start with deliverability. So obviously a big issue. We see it shrinking right now. I think you're emailing every single day. You want to make money off of it. So let's talk about the science of deliverability. So share us a little bit some of the things that you commonly do and some of the common problems you see with your clients when they're not getting that high deliverability rate.
Yeah, you got it. So to anybody listening, the word deliverability is really big and there's a lot of syllables. All that means is just getting the emails to the inbox. That just means whenever you send an email, it goes to somebody's inbox. And it sounds really simple, but it's hard, man. It's hard. Gmail, Yahoo, they just released an announcement that they're tightening everything up. And, I'm not going to get into the tech here, but they're getting stronger, man. It's like, imagine it's TSA letting your emails in.
I'm curious about the tech, actually. I think that's something, some
absolutely.
of these updates, some people might not even know that could be what's impacting them. But I think we have some pretty sophisticated emailers. So I'd be curious to know what changes in the tech have they done that's restricting some of that deliverability and getting yourself out of promos or social tabs or the other. They think they even have a new tab now, don't they?
Well, quick clarification. When you say into the inbox, does that count like the promotions folder and stuff?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So the promotions tab actually counts as the inbox.
Okay.
Now it's not the part of the inbox I want to be in. Right.
Gmail is like not every provider filters the way Gmail does.
Yeah,
right. So
exactly.
so when you're saying deliverability, it just means like the email got to the person's email that you're.
I like to define it as getting to the inbox. And when I say it, I should have specified it's getting to the right inbox because Outlook has, a different folder and Apple has a different folder. So yes, the promotions tab is still part of the inbox. And I've had LinkedIn people give me some serious side eye for crapping on the promotions tab. But at the end of the day, I want to be in front of
those
people.
LinkedIn people don't like making money then. So anyone that would crap on that.
It's the promotions tab, there's a social tab, and there's this inbox tab, right? Updates. Yeah. So
Updates, that's a new one. Yeah. I knew they had a new tab that things were starting to go to.
Yeah. But as far as the tech and like the two things that Gmail and Yahoo came out with, at least at the time of this recording, they say you have to authenticate your domains if you're doing mass sending. And that means DKIM, SPF, DMARC records, get it set up by someone who knows what they're doing. Because I've seen people, set it up. They come to me, they're like, it's not working. I'm like, did you do it? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, well, all right. That's probably why. There's a reason. There's a reason I don't walk tightropes. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So that's number one. You got to set up your domain. You have to authenticate your domain. And if you're already following best practices and you got someone taking care of this for you, they've already done it. So you're in the clear. Number two, they're actually setting a threshold for spam emails. So if you're blasting your list and people are complaining, at some point, there's now a threshold that they're going to just say, all right, we're just not going to accept your emails anymore.
Is they Gmail or Yahoo? Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you could end up getting.
So this isn't so
if
much.
you get enough complaints, they would ban any of your emails from getting sent.
That's right.
So this isn't so much this isn't the email service provider you're using in their ISP and them trying to protect that. It's the actual gatekeeper is Gmail going.
Yeah, it's the ISP itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be. So obviously probably on release. I mean, does anyone have an idea where that threshold is? Because that sounds like a scary thing.
Yeah, it's 0. I should have Googled it, but I think it's 0.03%. It could be.
That sounds so
higher
tiny.
or
So
lower.
low, yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Okay.
You'd be very surprised if you have, a list of 30,000
And that's someone
people,
going, they're getting an email and they're going, this is spam.
This is spam.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. For myself and for the other email
That
list
still
managers
feels
I know.
really small to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
need a very big list to
Right.
be able to mitigate that percentage. If you've got a smaller list, that's like
Yeah.
one
So if I have
spam complaint.
if I have a 10,000 email list, one spam complaint? Like what is the number on that? I feel like that is not math. I definitely do not
I'm a
math
creative
that
writing
way.
major. I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
I was an accounting major. I should
Yeah, I
know
was like,
these
you should
things.
know
Yeah,
this,
Yeah.
That definitely is not correct math. But like, it wouldn't take a lot, even on a 10,000 email list of direct spam complaints
Yeah.
before you're done with Gmail.
And they're also really shady about like what does 0.03%? Again, I got to
They're
look
not
up
gonna
the
tell you,
number.
right? Yeah.
What does it mean? Does that mean in a year? Does
Yeah, I
that
was going
mean
to ask,
a
is that a
month?
rolling 30
Like
days?
what is it? And the thing is, they don't tell you.
Of course they don't.
They
You'll find out.
it's kind of like having a really strict nun in the front of the classroom who doesn't tell you the rules of the class. So you just think, all right, if I sit up straight and I just do my work and I say my prayers, I think she's not going to hit me with a ruler. That's pretty much what you do.
All right, so let's see how we don't get hit by Google's rule.
Yeah, what's
Because
the- what's the Hail Mary we need to do
scary.
here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if we have enough rosaries to get ourselves out of Google.
So when you're
Hell,
when you're jumping into like a new client, I assume like what they're doing, what are you looking for to help improve deliverability and kind of problem solve?
Yeah, specifically, what are the things that you're doing? So knowing now that I would say deliverability and list or email opener happiness is going to be super critical with somebody, especially that Google update.
Yep.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you're doing to increase deliverability and increase reader happiness so they don't touch that spam button or complaint button?
Yeah. So number one thing, and I got to give props to Kristen Rushman. Kristen, I hope I'm saying your name right. She always said that deliverability is 90% behavioral and 10% technical. And I think that's just a beautiful way of saying it. I'm kind of jealous. I wish that I could have come up with that. But the number one thing that I've seen in my clients' accounts and other people's accounts, just set expectations, man. The moment somebody signs up for your thing, you tell them, hey, here's your thing. Here's how often I'm going to be emailing you. Here's what we're going to be talking about. If you're not okay with it, totally fine. You can unsubscribe right here.
And you put those unsubscribe links like right at the top too.
Oh yeah.
Right?
If you want to get jiggy with it, you can put it at the top.
Oh, we want to get jiggy.
If
with
you
it,
want to
yeah.
get jiggy with it, you can put it at the top. I like to put it right beneath the person's name, right? So custom unsubscribe link right beneath the person's name.
Sorry, person's name like in the signature line.
Yep, like
Okay,
right
yeah.
below their name.
It's like sincerely Thomas.
Yeah, I was literally
Unsubscribe,
thinking after.
yeah.
I literally was thinking the reverse. So you're like, "Hey Tom, unsubscribe."
It's like I knew I needed to clarify because Kyle
I'm like,
was
"Wow,
gonna,
damn, pretty aggressive in a wrong direction."
Man, that's like walking into a first date and paying and walking out. That's
Yeah.
Thanks.
Most of my
bye.
first
Yeah.
dates on the other side.
Yeah. I assume you're not like, you're not wanting them to unsubscribe, but you're making
Right.
it easy for them if
Absolutely.
they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make them, if they're walking into a party, you want them to know where the door is. You don't
Now
want to
why-
make them try and find it.
Okay, but David, I need the biggest email list I can. I don't want people to unsubscribe because I want to make a lot of money. I want to keep emailing them. Why would I make it easy for them to subscribe?
Because if you don't, they might complain. They might not do anything. They might not read any of your emails. And because of that, then Google will say, hey, wait a minute. You're sending a bunch of emails to people who aren't opening. Do they know that you're supposed to be doing that? So then that's when Google starts to say, all right, well, maybe we'll shift them into promotions. Maybe we'll shift them into spam. We don't like you. We don't like what you're doing. So even if they do opt in, now that doesn't matter anymore. Google just wants to see engagement.
It's a user experience that your list is
all
getting,
user
right? Yeah.
experience, man.
Yeah, you look at the changes they make to like SERPs and search engine results. It's like it's all user based, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So understanding it's like almost like setting up that expectation allows you to get, it invites engagement, right? You're
Yeah.
just filtering out empty voices, and by allowing them to unsubscribe and actually unsubscribing them.
Oh my God. Oh,
Sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
You should actually unsubscribe
don't get me
them.
started on that.
But actually unsubscribing them afterwards, all you're really doing is eliminating risk in your
Yeah.
business.
Well, it seems like the sellers and offer owners who get really upset that like pre-rebill notifications go out, right? Like, hey, you've got a recurring offer or you've got a recurring billing about to happen in 3 days. Like, why would you send that? That's going to increase my cancels, right? It's like, yes, it will increase your cancels, but if someone's canceling only because of that email, they're probably a bad person to have on your subscription anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're going to turn into refunding 6 months of orders and or charge backing 6 months of orders.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be over a barrel a bit with your denominator issue. Yeah. So I think it's a similar thing, right? If someone's going to want to unsubscribe, you probably should let them because you don't want them on that email list anyway for the health of it.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine from a trust capacity, your first email says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to email you this many times with this type of content. If you don't like it, no problem.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe now. Like, I think that's really, really, really great. And actually even echo that. I remember going to a Grant Cardone Mastermind, and he straight up said in one of his presentations, like, I'll email the shit out of you. Like, I know that was the inappropriate amount of designation to use. Shit. But he said straight up, he's like, I email some people like 4 to 5 to 6 times a day.
Yeah.
I got on that email list because I didn't believe him. I didn't believe it wasn't effective.
No,
he
he's real.
does. He emails you so many times a day. Now, again, he's also allowing you to unsubscribe. He says he's going to do it. He then does it. Like, you're not mad because you're going into this situation expecting way too many emails from Grant Cardone because he told you he was going to do that.
Right.
And guess what? I didn't unsubscribe, probably because I'm a marketer, but also because he said he would. And if I got annoyed, I wouldn't complain. I would just unsubscribe because of proper
Yeah, this is on brand
expectations.
for Grant.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yep.
I think it's one of the things important. Like, listen, if somebody wasn't doing that, they were like the cleanest, purest, nicest. But like if Esther Perel was emailing me 6 times a day, I would be complaining so fast. Because it's not really her brand.
Yeah.
That'd be really confusing. I don't know how many times a day I need to find out that I'm not being a good husband. Like 6 is too many. So I think that expectation setting is really, really interesting for sure.
So you're setting good expectations. You're letting them unsubscribe easily. How much do things like copy, links in your email, like how much is that?
Text.
Yeah, how much is that? Images. I hear so many different things about like, oh, there was too many links in it. That made it get filtered out. The copy seemed overly promotional. That's why I went to promotions. Like how much of that is true versus fact? Guessing. What actually impacts it on a copy, like as part of the email and deliverability?
Sure. I think if you get on the nun's good side, she's more likely to
Can we
let
start
things
calling
slide.
Google the nun?
I think we should. That sounds like the movie, so it's kind of scary,
Even
but
better. Even better.
yeah. Oh my gosh, that's the new Halloween costume.
ABC nun.
But yeah, I think when people say, "Oh, you can only put X amount of links in an email," I'm like, "You sure?" Because I've put links in emails. I put 0 links in emails, and they were delivered. I've put 10 links in emails. They've been delivered. What's your relationship with your subscribers? If you are being overly promotional, it's because you are. If you're saying, my course can give you the ability to fly to Mars and breathe, then yeah, you're going to get marked as spam.
Too bad. I want that offer.
I know. I'll come out with it on next year.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
You can reference it. Yeah. But if you are using words like make money online, which that's what we do. So it's not truthful, right? But those are like little triggers that you have to be careful of with Google, with Yahoo, So if your language is a little too evangelical, dial it back a little bit, right? If you are putting 36 links in an email, yeah, maybe don't do that. But if you have a good relationship with Google and AOL and Outlook and Hotmail and all that, I'm just going to refer to that as ISPs so I don't have to keep repeating myself. So if you have a good relationship with ISPs, you're treating your subscribers well, people are opening, people are clicking, people are replying, huge. They're more likely to be totally fine with you sending 10 links in an email.
I think it's going back to the user
Back to
experience,
the user experience,
right? Like if the links are serving a good purpose for somebody, then probably include the link. Yeah, it's like,
and if they're not links that are bit.ly links or redirect links or links to some sketchy websites because they know they'll check.
So it's better to use like your own domain link or something.
Yeah.
Would like a pretty links count where it's like this is my own domain, but it's going to redirect to something else?
Because when you send an email out from an email marketing software, if you click on it, it actually redirects to the email marketing software first, so they can record that someone clicked it, and then it goes to the original website. So that's already one redirect. You don't want to keep stacking those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say like ClickBank has got a direct linking feature now you can be using to track, so you don't have to use the hop link. It's something that the offer owner has to set up. But if you're an emailer, this might be relevant for you, right? Because now you could be using direct linking to go to a page you host or whatever it is, or even just that link. So you don't have to use a ClickBank hop link in your email.
Which would be 2 redirects, essentially, from what you're describing.
Well, yeah,
Redirect
to
for
the ESP
track.
and then to the hop link or vice versa, right? So if you can minimize that maybe with direct linking, that might be something to look into.
Because I would imagine ESP, if they saw like 3 redirects before a page loaded from an email, they'd be like, no, I don't like that. That doesn't seem right. Why are you doing that? So, gotcha.
Yeah, I guess it's something to try. This is not financial advice.
No, that's really interesting. I think a great thing. And I think the thing here, too, is just to echo, so I think this will be a theme throughout it, is it's behavioral, not technical.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you, Chris.
So the behavior, if you were just pushing too hard, that might be why you're not getting the deliverability, right? You're just pushing too hard and your customers are saying no. And I know we've had some people in the past talk about segmentation. It's important
100%,
to really segment to the right openers. I think, again, people that are actually looking your emails. But I think for all people in general, like refining it down to the right people is actually where your monetization occurs. Yeah. Now, with that, I want to kind of transition a little bit here, but not entirely away from unsubscribes.
Sure.
Because in our past conversation, we were doing the pre-meeting for this. You mentioned something that you were doing unsubscribes. And I might be ignorant, first time in this subject, not just in general. But I had never heard this before, and I thought it was super, super cool. So tell us a little bit about what you do with your clients when it comes to unsubscribe pages, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. So, and I loved having this conversation with you because your eyes just started widening.
Yeah.
So what I do when I put the unsubscribe link underneath the person's name, so it's David Cartolano, unsubscribe here. That unsubscribe link can go to a page that I want. So I can, send it to another funnel. So that way, we have the automation that immediately unsubscribes people in our email marketing software. So it already takes care of that.
Okay, so it is unsubscribed when you click unsubscribe, but they're going to a page now.
But they're going to the page that you want them to go.
Okay.
So that page,
Because you had said before, it's your unsubscribe page is most likely going to be in your business the second most viewed landing page you have.
Unsubscribe and thank you. That's prime real estate. If you're just saying, okay, cool, no, use that. You got to use
you
that.
go.
Yeah.
Which I think most people, I don't think I've ever
use a
seen an
generic
unsubscribe
template,
list. It's just literally like, what list would you like to not be a part of? And I remember I'm like, I'm a part of that many lists. That's the first thing I was like,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the most I've ever seen.
Okay, so you're unsubscribed. So you are actually unsubscribing on that click. You're not making them take a double opt-out thing.
Yeah, don't do that. People hate that.
Yeah.
But once you take them to the funnel or the web page or whatever, you can say, hey, would you be interested in this? It could be an offer, could be a video, could be something. You can even be like a little tongue-in-cheek with it and say, hey, I dropped the ball. Here's my way of bribing you back on my list. And then you give them an offer and then bring it back on the list. Again, set expectations with people.
Downsell back onto the list.
You can downsell back on the list. Yeah.
But that was one of those things that super simple, makes a ton of sense. The one set you said about you get tons of visits on that. I'm like, yeah, you probably do.
What do you see work? I guess is the intention there? Do you see it work better to try to sell someone another conversion, or do you see it better to just get a free thing to get them back on a list? What do you in your behavioral lens?
Well, it's almost
there,
what's the goal on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes if you're trying to sell product, I don't really care if you're on the email list or I want you as a buyer on that list. So yeah, I'm kind of curious there. What would be the main drivers, or maybe it'd be business?
I think it depends. And I know that's not an answer people like to look for, but like everything in life, it depends. If you're doing e-com, then you might want to give them a coupon for a product. If you're doing B2B consulting, maybe give them a small mini course. If you're just mainly a content creator, say, hey, that's cool. You can still check out my YouTube channel and subscribe there. So you have to pull the strings in the way that serves your business best.
Are you seeing anyone do like surveys or anything? Like, why did you unsubscribe? Are they doing anything with that data? Is it?
I haven't seen it, but hey, like, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I always love the survey for customers. Like, hey, how'd you hear about us? And helps you revalidate your data that no, not everyone came from Google, right? It's just what your tracking analytics says they came from. But on the like, hey, why are you leaving? I could see that being. But I'd imagine there's better real estate you could be using on that page.
Yeah, I think the problem with that is like, it'd be good to get that information sometimes.
Yeah.
But the other thing is like, I think the people that'll answer it won't be all that telling sometimes. Because survey bias is a real thing. Like, we tend to answer questions of who we aspire to be, not who we are.
Yeah.
And who we are is what we make decisions with our wallets, right? That's who defines us. So, I mean, me personally, I like the idea of like, hey, you didn't like, I dropped the ball. I understand you didn't like the content we had at this point. Here's some other options that might be a better fit for you, and we find other people. Because what I'm really doing is all I actually care about is what's the buying behavior or the whatever intentional behavior that got them on my list beforehand. Now, maybe we need to define that a little bit more clearly for this person. Yeah. So what I really want is just who are the engaged people, and can I get another opportunity to engage with them?
Yeah.
Versus I think sometimes if you go and just try and get them back on the list or slowly back on the list, something like that, it might not necessarily bring or yield the customer you even want. So that'd be my thoughts.
I'm curious, like, how do you even know you have a deliverability issue? Because I've heard with like
Great
the new, all the iOS changes that happened, all that kind of stuff, like data has gotten a lot murkier than it used to be. Like, how do you even know that is the thing to focus on?
Simple litmus test. You get a bunch of your own personal emails, and then you send emails from your email marketing software to those emails, and you see where they land. That's it.
Okay, and so that's reliable enough? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
So if it's landing in promo, if it's landing in spam, you're going to know. You're just going to see it. You can, if you have a team, you can send it to them. You could ask your best friend from home and be like, hey, can you tell me if you get this email or not? You know, that's just simple litmus tests. I know that there are different softwares out there that I use to do like a greater look. But man, if you're a business owner, you're pressed for time, just email yourself. See where it goes.
Kind of take that gut check.
Yeah.
And then how do you prompt people to actually send you replies to an email? And how do you make that, I guess I could see people doing that just hacky, and they're not going to do anything with those replies. Like, how do you make that a good user experience and actually get meaningful replies that are important to your business?
Good for you as a business beyond deliverability.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have heard of Dean Jackson's 9-word email. That thing works gangbusters. It is.
I think I have.
Yeah. So Dean Jackson came up with this simple email, and I've used it so many times, and it works. All you say is, it's like a 9-word question. So if I were a tutor for one of those kids in the school with the crazy nun, and I wanted to email them for my math tutoring services, and I'm terrible at math, so this is really hypothetical. So I would say, are you still struggling with algebra? ? That's it. If I want, I can say, reply yes, and we'll have a conversation. But just a regular, simple email, as if I'm sending an email to you. Hey, what time do you want to get lunch? And then they reply 12 p.m. That's it. Those 9-word emails, that can be great for, I know I've used it for B2B consulting. That works really well. Are you still struggling with your sales retention? ? I'm looking to help 3 people this week for it. Reply yes if you want to be one of them.
Gotcha.
Okay, so just giving them a simple prompt to say a 1-word answer.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I love the idea of not making a reply yes. I'm curious if you've seen differences in the split testing for that, because I think, there's no difference.
No difference.
Interesting, because I'd be like, my instincts would be like the vaguer, like if you give them openness, you'll get better responses. But I guess it depends on what your goal is. Yeah. Now, I would think if you're like a weight loss company or diet company and put, hey, are you still struggling to lose weight, to an active list of buyers that have already bought your product is really interesting. That'd be a really interesting one. Especially if you followed up anybody that opens, you put them on like a affiliate sequence, like a separate different one, because you've already engaged with them in a different way. And if they're still struggling, you know that they're prompt for other products. So that's really interesting. Sorry, I'm like now just ideating on our
And
podcast.
are you sending that, say, the 9-word email? Is that something you're just sending to the whole list at a regular interval? Is that something you're sending to people after they've joined a certain amount of time?
Yeah, like
is there like
part of the onboarding sequence? Like, because I know a new user, the faster you give them a reply, that definitely helps with deliverability. I shouldn't say no. I have heard, in my understanding, that.
Yeah. So in my welcome sequences, I do have one of those emails in there, just to see if like, see if what we have is what they want, but also to kind of provoke them, poke them. Yeah, same thing, provoke them. So you want to provoke them a little bit to see if they're even alive, to see if they're even opening the emails. Yeah. So I like to have it there. And if you are B2B, I found that sending an email late Sunday night, or scheduling one if you'd like to get to bed, scheduling email late Sunday night with that 9-word call and response, that's pretty cool. I've seen that work.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I do think that when I'm dreading Mondays, as you look through all your emails Sunday night, I love an easy response that you can get and bang out real fast.
Yep.
So that makes a ton of sense. And you're probably getting entrepreneurs in their most pained state at the end of a weekend, looking at what you're going to have to do for the rest of
it ain't an accident.
Yeah. That's a super smart timing thing. I like that a lot. I mean, my thoughts would be for that same email, like how do you extrapolate that into health? How do you extrapolate that into other verticals? Like when is the time that you're most likely the most self-loathing?
Oh, man, Saturday morning.
Gosh, we're getting heavy,
Like-
Kyle.
like, it depends.
Every day.
I was gonna say like 10 o'clock at night when I go,
Yeah.
like
So then right there, right?
yeah. It'd be like, to me, it'd be like 9 o'clock and you're trying to calm down. Maybe that's the time to send the emails. Like, do you regret what you ate tonight? Like, that was your subject. Like, did you regret?
So it's like a subtle little twist of the knife without being overly dramatic.
Yeah. But you think if you were in that state, like, you'd be like, yeah, I did. I regret it a lot. And then you're like, great, well, why? Tell us more. And then you elaborate. Next thing you know, I now know someone's food struggles. I'm talking about it. I'm leaning towards the fact that, gosh, I got to stop doing this stupid crap. Well, guess what? We might have an opportunity for you to stop doing this stupid crap. You know? Yeah. So sorry, I'm getting, again, like marketing nerdy on this. But I really like that simple question and response. But I think also the thing that you really put in there is have that question triggered up towards when they're most likely to answer that question, whatever you're doing in your business. So if it's like, B2B, Sunday night, we'll have to figure out health and fitness, but there's lots of
I've seen some of the more I don't know, but like, Justin Goff stuff and George Eyes, like Ian Stanley's, like the copy gurus out there. They'll kind of do like do you still want to be on my list kind of thing?
That's a great one.
And it's just like a way to like, yeah, I do. Don't kick me off. It's like, because they have a lot of people that just follow them for almost a newsletter type thing. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, do you still want to be on my list? Like, you haven't opened for a while. It's like, oh, yeah, I do. Like, they probably wouldn't have kicked me off anyway, but
but that's really great though. Just again to re-engage and do those pulse checks. So that's a fantastic one. So I want to get one more because we're getting close on time, and I realize the way this podcast is going, and I'm probably the number one determinant for it. It'll go forever. I don't feel like we won't stop talking anytime soon. So let's give one more tip. And what I really would like is, I think we get this question a ton from people going to email, which is which ESP do I check? Which software am I going to select? And I know that's kind of always a challenging question to answer in that a lot of what software you're selecting is going to depend on where you're at in your business sometimes. So that being said, give her what qualifiers you want. If you could just tell us maybe the ESPs that you enjoy working with the most and why, and who you recommend, that being like who do you recommend for clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So top recommendation, if you are not using a CRM, is Campaign Refinery. Their deliverability is unbelievable. The CEO, Travis, we talk every so often, and he cares so ridiculously much. They are not a VC-backed squeeze every dollar out of our customer type business. So they're really good.
They've been performance marketer friendly too.
Yeah.
So they built an integration to us, so we can add a link or something to the description to that integration page we've got. And
yeah.
And if they'd like us to teach them how to squeeze more out of all of their customers in a very aggressive way, we could probably talk. I'm just kidding. We don't.
Oh my God. But yeah, Campaign Refinery is great. I think if you like Go High Level, I think Go High Level and Mailgun are also pretty damn good deliverability there. I think.
So real fast, first Campaign Refinery, this is, I think, the third mention it's happened on this podcast. Again, really great service out there. But can you elaborate a little bit more on the Mailgun and Go High Level? Because that's a two-part system there. And where we've been hearing a lot about Go High Level, seems like a really awesome CRM for the people that are using it. So I'm thinking that this could be a really exciting thing for a lot of people, but elaborate on that setup a bit more.
Yeah, so there's ESPs and SMTPs. ESP is kind of like the post office where you can, buy stamps, buy cards and wrap up packages and stuff. And SMTP is just the mail carrier who delivers the letters back and forth, right? So Mailgun is the mail carrier. Go High Level is the post office that sits on top of it. So that way you can just tell Go High Level, hey, can you send this for me? And Mailgun will, send it out.
Actually send it.
Right.
And is Mailgun like the default option that GetResponse is using, or Go High Level is using, or is it something you have to like specifically add in as a tool?
So they did come out with LC email, which is now they take the Mailgun and they put it in their service for you. I haven't tested that too much yet. I'd rather get, for me at least, I'd rather get Mailgun on the side so I can see what's under the hood. So if there is a problem, I can go into my Mailgun account and, talk to their support or do whatever I need to do. So that's why I like saying, get both for now.
So you're setting up Mailgun as the SMTP for Go High Level to use. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And that way you get transparency so you could see the entire process, which
Correct.
probably, especially when it comes to deliverability, could be key, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful. Yeah.
Might be helpful. Because especially when you're talking about with some of the domain authentication and getting that stuff in there, I imagine you need to have a little bit more in-depth information on that.
And
SMTP.
Campaign Refinery.
Right?
SMTP.
Okay, cool. Is that
Am I saying it right? Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Yeah, we're good.
Real wad.
Yeah.
That's just too many words.
Yeah. But yeah, Campaign Refinery and Mailgun, they both make it unbelievably easy for you to set up the domain authentication stuff. It's copy paste. They make it really easy. You don't have to crawl through a support article for it. They have them, but they make it so unbelievably easy.
Nice.
That's awesome. Especially as you said, that's a common deliverability mistake. So knowing that they could simplify that is awesome.
Yeah.
So, but those are the two. So let me ask this: what would be the distinction that you would make between a client if they were doing Go High Level and Mailgun versus Campaign Refinery?
Campaign Refinery, that's where you send emails from. Period. If you have a CRM, so if you're already in like HubSpot or you're already in, I think like Maropost is really, really good. But if you have more of a CRM type software and you still want to maintain that client management with your email stuff, then yeah, I would use Go High Level. I think once you hit a certain point in business, it might make more sense to go with a more enterprise solution, right? Like Maropost or something like that. But those, for most of you listening to this podcast or watching, I would say Campaign Refinery or Go High Level. Those are my suggestions. If you're like, oh, but David, I really want to check out this one thing. Here's what I would do. Here's my litmus check. You go to their website. You go to their acceptable use policy, their terms and conditions. And if it's really, 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 really long and they're very specific about what you can and cannot do, I like that. Right? So the more strict they are in their users, the better. You're not going to have a bunch of hippie children just sending whenever they want, whiting out the unsubscribe link on the bottom, which I still don't know why. I don't even have words behind that. So, so that's a good litmus
So
test.
when you have that, when you're looking at ESP, if they have higher standards and they're keeping out, we'll say the bad behavior players, nothing about you bad players out there. You keep doing what you're doing, just in a different.
Don't hate the player, hit the game.
Yeah, exactly. I don't hate no players. Yeah. So understanding that, like, what does that do for you in terms of you're going to an ESP that has those time standards? Like, why would that be the litmus test for you?
Yeah, because when people, am I going to get into shared IPs or not?
Going to ask that, I was like, that might be hairy, but
Yeah, I know. That's kind of where my question was leaning. Or I was like, I wonder if that's the reason why.
Yeah,
So.
no. I'm going to say, how about this? If you are hanging out of a Dunkin' Donuts in a really good neighborhood late at night, you're probably not going to be stopped because it's a good neighborhood. Most people don't commit crime there, right? If you're in a bad neighborhood, it doesn't matter if you're hanging out outside of a Dunkin' Donuts during the day, you're probably going to be asked, hey, what are you doing? Simply because of the area and the environment and the people. And what I like about Campaign Refinery is it's very careful about the people who come into the environment. Very like, hey, you need to actually get people to open and click your emails. You don't do that and we kick you out. Good neighborhood, right? So that's how I explain shared IPs
where an
without
HOA
actually.
might be beneficial.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to raise your kids in the right ESP.
that's
I'm telling you guys.
damn right.
Yeah.
I'm more of a no HOA guy. Yeah.
Thomas has feral kids.
Yeah.
His kids and his
I'm the
cats.
feral
Are
one,
Well, awesome, man. So that's a great recommendation, and we're getting close on time. Really appreciate it. And you have a flight to catch to get back home to. We love the time. We love the conversation. But we know where we could even continue it. Others might want to continue it with you. Yeah. What is the best way that people get a hold of you, whether it's for services, whether it's for content, whether it's to unsubscribe off your email list, just so they could see that unsubscribe page, whatever it might be. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can go to wealthyinbox.com. And I say that first because trying to spell my last name is a bear. So if you want to find me on social media, you can go on Facebook or LinkedIn, and I'll spell out my last name. So my name is David Cartolano, C-A-R, hit the table, C-A-R-T-O-L-A-N-O.
Cartolano. Yeah.
Cartolano.
Cartolano.
Yeah, gabagool. There you go.
Cartolano. Yeah. Oh, jeez. There was still stuff in there. Sorry about that, Dylan. Just tucking.
This is why we can have nice things.
Prosecco everywhere. Yeah, that's why we don't have nice things.
Got
Anyway.
a puddle there. Got a puddle there.
Awesome. Great, guys. So don't throw things around, and definitely reach out to David Cartolano, at wealthyinbox.com. We'll make sure that link is in the show notes below. But again, fantastic time.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. Email is not dead. It's still viable to your business. And with that, please rate, review, subscribe, do all the things. Click the bell, whatever it is. Subscribe to the podcast. Do the things that marketing tells me that I should tell you each time. Just do it. And I want to say it each time.
Also, hey, if you listen to more than 3 episodes, thank you. And yeah, if a rating or a review would go a really long way to helping us out on iTunes or Google, wherever you're listening.
So if you want to help us out, please rate, review, and subscribe. If you don't want to help us out, please rate, review, and subscribe. Do it, and no matter what your opinion is. So
and if you do it because of me, it's going to lift my ego. So please tell them if you subscribe, do it because David.
Yeah. And Cartolano needs a bigger ego. So please rate, review, subscribe. The last thing I was like to say on the episodes is if you have something where like, man, this is a question I want to have answered. This is somebody I want you guys to talk to. Whatever it might be, even if it's just to say, I don't like your shirt, please email us at affiliated at Click, and it's my shirt, not yours. You have great shirts.
I like your shirt.
I do too. Yeah. Maybe others don't. Anyway, so affiliated at clickbank.com. Please email us. We do read those emails, not me because I'm illiterate, but Thomas does.
I do,
and he reads them aloud to me later. So please make that happen because it's important to me to have Thomas read to me. So I need the emails so that could happen. But with that, what do we tell the people, Thomas, as we leave and say goodbye?
Happy scaling.
Be scaling. Until next time, thanks so much.